everyone. Hello, DC. Welcome to another edition of 202 Creates Masterclass. I'm your host, Britt Waters, and we have an amazing conversation that I'm so excited about, and it's perfectly timed during Women's History Month. But before we get into that, let's talk about the greatness that is 202 Creates. 202 Creates is an initiative of the DC Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment, led by our fearless leader, Director Angie M. Gates, and it's designed to celebrate, to support, to promote, and educate the district's creatives just like you. We produce entrepreneurship programming, provide technical assistance, this master series course, and the biannual residency program that's designed to aid creatives in scaling their endeavors. So if this seems like resources that you can use or something that you know someone else can use, please go to www.202creates.com, write it down, text it to your friend, and make sure you tap in. So let's kick off today's program. I'm excited to introduce our featured speaker, Amber Nichols. She is the general manager of the Capital City Go-Go, the second female GM in league history. So we got history happening right here. I want to share a little bit of her story. She was named the second general manager in franchise history prior to the start of this season of the NBA G League. Nichols is entering her third season with the team, where she previously served as director of basketball operations and assistant general manager. She joined Tori Miller of the College Park Skyhawks as the only two Black female GMs in the entire NBA G League. With the Go-Go opting out of the 2020-2021 NBA G League season, she did travel with several players who were flex assists by the Wizards to the Erie BayHawks for the single-site season in Orlando. So she's making magic in Disney World right now, where she's doubling as a scout at one of the most unique scouting events that the league has ever had. Nichols also orchestrated a pair of trades prior to the season, getting the Go-Go returning rights to the proven NBA G League veterans like DeVaughn, Akoon-Purcell, and Travis Trice II. She started her Go-Go career in the team's inaugural season as the director of basketball ops before being promoted to assistant GM back in 2019-2020, but she's moving on up in that role. Nichols was responsible for team logistics, helping players off the court with development through different engagement activities, all of the scouting. She does it all. She returns to Monumental Basketball Organization for the second time after spending the 2016-2017 season as the basketball operations intern, and she turned that into becoming a basketball ops analyst for the NBA G League during the next season. I mean, she's loved the game forever. She started out as a baller, playing 4 years of college basketball at the University of Richmond, where she received her bachelor's in sociology, and out in Raleigh, North Carolina, where she's from. She always reps that. She continued her education at University of Georgia, where she received a master's in kinesiology with a concentration in sports management and policy. She took all of that together and made the magic to make her dreams a reality. Amber, is there anything more I can say? Thank you so much for joining us. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I mean, you've definitely found success during a pandemic. I know that's not easy. I mean, I host for the Washington Wizards and Mystics, and everyone speaks so highly of you. You have such a great reputation of being a hard worker and just a genuine person. Is that a lot of pressure?
No, I've always been told that, being a good person will take you a long way. So that's something that I definitely take pride in.
Wow. So from being a baller to a businesswoman, I said about 202 Creates, how it's here for creatives to really build on their craft. So when you focus your whole life on being a basketball player, what are kind of the business lessons that made you switch over in your mind?
I would say that the translatable skills that I learned from playing were, definitely time management and organization, as well as communicating, leadership, camaraderie. Those are things that, I took from my time as a player and just applied it to, my career.
Absolutely. And you actually created a lane, which I love about your story, to showcase what you were great at. You started a blog to kind of flex those scouting skills and show them what you could do. What advice would you give to young women today? Because now, we have phones, we have computers, we have so much technology on our hands. What would you tell someone that wants to get started in the business of sports?
Yeah, I would, encourage them to always have some sort of portfolio that you can present of yourself when you do get in front of decision makers, because that allows them to see your work and then also match that with your character and work ethic. And ultimately, I believe that always leads to an opportunity.
Absolutely. When you get to those opportunities, what are some of the obstacles you've had to face? I know it's already hard getting into sports business and then being a woman, then being a Black woman and a young woman. How do you get over those?
Yeah, so I just stay true to myself. I have a really big support group from my family and mentors. I pride myself in having mentors that are also Black women, so I learn from their experiences and apply it to my own, and that way, it helps me, overcome any obstacles that I face, throughout my journey.
Now, sports is an art that we all love. It captivates crowds, but now people aren't really in person, but now you're surrounded by people playing. Do you still get the rush that you did being on the court on the business side?
Yeah, part of my job is being around the players, being around our team every day at games, at practices, at workouts. So every time I step on the floor, I feel that rush, that same intensity, that same anxiety. Sometimes, when you're about to play a big game, as the players do. And when I got down here to Disney, my first time being on the court in a year since our season was suspended. So, all of the emotions, all of the feelings came back as soon as I touched the floor. And that's what I love the most about my job. Is just, being around the court, hearing sneakers squeak, seeing how we improve every day on the floor is something that, I really, really love about the game.
Yes, I love the squeaking of the sneakers, hearing that ball go through the net. Now, I've always said that I'm a waste of height. I'm 5'10" and I can't dribble. But I found a career working with the NBA, the WNBA. What do you tell all those other girls that were like me, who were like, I love the game so much? What do you tell them about the other opportunities outside of playing?
Yeah, that, just because you didn't play or play at a high level doesn't mean that you can't contribute to the game in some other form or fashion. So I would encourage them, if you love the game and you have a passion for it and you want to make it your career, definitely do your research, meet people already in the industry, learn what they do on a day-to-day basis, and you might come across something that strikes your interest, and then go from there.
And in doing their research, they'll find people like you. I mean, you've opened doors, broken barriers. You're definitely someone that we would love to celebrate during Women's Month. Who inspires you?
I would say first and foremost, my mom inspires me. As I was coming up, she was, always present at every basketball game, every event that I had. She put me in things at a very young age to keep me busy and to keep me out of trouble, and to make sure that, I succeeded in whatever my passion was. So I would definitely say she inspires me. And then also, other Black women that are in the industry, Allison Feaster, Michelle Roberts, Krista Chen, just to name a few. Tori Miller, who's also, a general manager in the G League. All of my, mentors and colleagues definitely inspire me to keep going, and I'm blessed to have them in my life.
And that team is so blessed to have you. I'm interested in how you kind of take control of situations, being a woman, being a young woman, and of course dealing with players who are like so tall and towering over you. How do you command that attention and make sure they're listening to everything you say?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I'm very confident, and I go into the situation meeting them where they are on their level. Sometimes it doesn't, you don't have to be mean to get your point across. It's honestly just having a conversation. So, learning how to effectively communicate with whoever I'm communicating, and learning how they receive and process knowledge is something that has helped me, be able to communicate effectively with players, with staff, with everybody essentially.
Yeah, I think it was super scary earlier during this pandemic when we had that kind of stretch of months where there was no sports. No one really knew what was happening. And it kind of made everyone, as a fan side, like, wow, this is what it would feel like without it. How do you navigate the new normal? And what's one memory that you have that you never thought you'd have because we couldn't predict a pandemic?
Yeah, just going so long without basketball was very difficult. But first and foremost on my mind was, our players and how they were reacting and responding with the pandemic, because their season got suspended just abruptly. And a lot of those guys, they not only just love basketball, but it's their means of providing for their family. So my mind automatically went there and trying to figure out ways to help them, compensate for that, and not being able to play. And I think that was the toughest part of the pandemic for me. The most memorable memory was, definitely watching the bubble games. There were some really, really good games down in Orlando where I'm at now on the NBA side and the W side. So being able to watch that with my family, for the first time, because I hadn't been able to really be home as much as I was during the pandemic for years, like honestly since I graduated high school. So just being around my parents and my family and being able to watch games, and and, teaching them, my love for the game is something that, I will always remember about this pandemic.
Yeah, that's definitely moving because when I couldn't watch basketball, I was like, what do I do with myself? What do we even do? In preparation, of course, I had to look everything up, and I was moved by your Instagram. You have a quote on there that says, protect your peace. And I think that's so important this month for women because that kind of means don't accept hostility or any discrimination. And don't be afraid to use your voice and make your voice as a woman stand out. How important is it for athletes and people of power in sports to effectively use their voice?
It's very important. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to have the platform to have a voice. Some people that would love to speak out don't have the platform to do so. So it's a responsibility for people that have the platforms to speak out. And then just protect your peace to me is, also acknowledging the mental component of it, making sure that you stay very streamlined through the process and keep your mental intact because you can't really perform at your highest level with your mental, not on the right level. So I take that into account every day as I'm trying to lead these guys and as I'm trying to speak out is make sure that, my mental is intact to be able to do so.
What I love about our conversation is that you always pivot to the men you're in service to. Like you're talking about their families, and it feels like you guys are really super connected.
Mhm. Yeah, it's important to build relationships in this business and it's important to, build trust. And that's one thing that I try to do as a leader is, get to know the guys on a personal level. Because if someone trusts you, you'll be able to hold them accountable and you'll be able to get the most, out of them to help them be successful. And so that's what I try to apply, to my leadership method.
Yeah, trust is important. I mean, you definitely trusted the process during your entire career to get to this point. What's the next spot for you?
Ultimately, I just want to perform well in the role that I have now and grow every day. Down here in the bubble, I have access to a lot of people that are in my position as well as some higher ups on NBA teams. And so what I've been doing is taking the time to pick their brains to learn from their experiences because this is my first year in this role and I want to make the best of it and also it's my responsibility to help others that want to be in this position one day. So giving back to young women, even young men that want to be in this position one day is something that, I've prided myself on doing during this pandemic and something that I want to keep up. And then, ultimately down the road, I hope I get the chance to lead an NBA team one day. Ultimately that's what, this role is preparing me for. So I'm excited about that.
That's amazing. And one part of this is that you're dropping all of these gems that are super great in your professional life. But when it comes to your personal life, I know that players have a routine that they go through to get ready for the game. What are those kind of self care tips that you can share? Because they are important when it comes to the mental.
Yeah, I do therapy. I have my therapist is a Black woman, a young Black woman, and she specializes in millennials and young women and in male dominated spaces, and so she's kind of helped me clear my head and stay level headed. Dealing with all of the notoriety and attention that's came with this promotion. So I'm very grateful for therapy, and then other things I do is try to work out and then also talk to my family. I'm an only child, so I'm super close with my parents and my parents are older, so I'm making sure I speak with them every day and making sure that they're okay in North Carolina as well as my other family because they saw my journey from day one and so they're able to help me through things that people that I have just met or are new to me may not be able to help me with just because they don't really know my experience in the past. So I try to keep my family close.
Yes, family will always keep you humble and
Yeah.
keep you loved. Do you get home often?
So since the pandemic, I was in North Carolina for the majority of it. I was, there for 3 to 4 months, just spending time with my parents. But, outside of that, I haven't been able to because, we're in season. But, being in DC, North Carolina's not very far. So when I do get a chance, I just, drive down and see them. And it's always a good experience.
Yeah, I mean, and the district has definitely embraced you and celebrated you and made you feel like home. What's your kind of your favorite part of being in DC?
Yeah, I love the people in DC. I love the food. I love, how Southeast DC has embraced the go-go and they come out and
Yeah.
support us. And, that's something that I want to do as GM is continue to, bridge that connection, bridge that gap between us and the community, because ultimately we're a reflection of the community that, we're playing in. So, that's one of my goals as GM, is to further, our community outreach and engagement.
So for everybody listening right now who wants to be a part of the Go-Go community, to support you, what's one more lesson you can give them to stick in their brains throughout the rest of Women's History Month?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Like, honestly, we're just very grateful for your support right now. We're down in the bubble, and although we're not technically playing as the Go-Go, we're still embracing that Go-Go culture down here, and that's something that we want to build upon for next season. And I would love to have the community come out, to our first games next season, if health and safety protocol permits, and we're allowed to get fans back in buildings. But I would love to honor the people that support us and that are in the community, so we can continue to grow with each other.
Thank you so much for joining us, Amber. I feel enlightened. I'm inspired for the rest of Women's History Month. And let me tell you, we can't wait to get back to ESA. I've heard from the WNBA, from G League fans, that place is intimidating to be in for other teams. But until we can share with you guys on from there, where can we follow you?
Yeah, I would say follow me on Instagram at my first and last name, Amber Nichols. Also follow the Capital City Go-Go on Instagram, on socials, Facebook, Twitter. We're very active on social media, trying to get our fans engaged. So, you can follow me and follow the Go-Go, and that'd be great.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all of you guys watching. I hope you enjoy the discussion and continue it. Leave your thoughts below by commenting, tag a friend, share it to someone who needs to get all of these gems that Amber shared with us today. And of course, join our next 202 Creates Masterclass. You can apply for the spring cohort of the 202 Creates Creative Entrepreneur Residency Program. To learn more about all of this, go to 202creates.com. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And thank you again for giving us a little bit of your time. I'll see you next time.